Hey guys, it's Miss Dixon. I'm coming to you today to record a little video, give you a little bit of instruction about the different categories of literature. Now, we know that literature is written text, right? It can be an essay, a play, a poem, or even a short story. However, what you might not know about literature is that it has two different categories. The categories are poetry and prose. If you see the graphic in front of you at the very top, it says poetry versus prose. So we're going to just quickly highlight the difference between poetry and prose. Now, if you look, there is a bigger circle, and that circle represents literature. And inside of that bigger circle, you have two smaller circles. One is titled prose, and the other is titled poetry. What that means is that prose and poetry are both considered literature. But if you look at the two smaller circles, they do not cross, which means that poetry is not prose and prose is not poetry. Just like when you categorize anything else, you have to look at certain rules that will either make something one thing or another. And with literature, there are rules that will make the piece of literature either prose or will make it poetry. So if you look at the prose, underneath is listed a list of simple rules where if you're looking at a piece of text, you can tell whether it is prose or poetry. So if you're looking at a piece of text and the words are organized into sentences and paragraphs, then it is probably prose. If the literature is not poetry, it is probably prose. And if it's an essay, short story, novel, or play, then it is prose. Prose is essentially any piece of literature that is not a poem. It has organization of sentences and paragraphs. So if you look at a news article, it's probably prose because it's going to be organized into sentences and paragraphs. If you look at an essay, it's going to be prose because it's organized into sentences and paragraphs. If you look at a novel, it's going to be prose because it's organized into sentences and paragraphs. Now, let's move on down to poetry. Again, poetry is literature just like prose. However, it has a specific set of rules. It has words that are organized into lines and stanzas. So it doesn't have complete sentences like prose does. And it doesn't have paragraphs like prose does. It has lines and it has stanzas. It's a form of literature that uses rhythm, rhyme, sound, and structure to express something in an artistic way. So if you are listening to a poem, you can pick up a beat, you can pick up rhymes, you can pick up different sounds, and that is how you know it is poetry. On the next page of your interactive notebook, you see two videos that are examples. One is a poem and the other is prose, a short story. If you would like, watch both of those videos and see if you can tell which one is poetry and which one is prose.